And the reason we're recording this is we have a Facebook page, a website, and also a YouTube channel that we'll be uploading this to, so you can refer other folks to see this presentation if they would like to, if they couldn't attend today. We will be setting time aside at the end of the meeting for questions and answers, but we're hoping this will be an interactive meeting. You can stop us at any time during the presentation and ask questions. We're happy to. That's the whole reason we're here, is to hear from you. And also we have Spanish and Vietnamese, simultaneous audio interpretation going on with this meeting. And if anybody needs that, I'd like them to either raise their hand physically or use the icon button to raise their hand, and we can go through how that works. I'll give people just a minute to do that. And I'm not seeing anybody that needs it at this point, so we will skip over that. And if you'd like to sign up for our regular updates on the project, please use the chat function box. It's enabled, and you can type in your email address, and we'll be happy to add you to our email list. Again, the whole purpose of this meeting is, 1, to let you know about this project, 2, to correct some misinformation that's been out there floating around about this project, and 3, to let you know we have we're working with the planning department on some exciting new changes in response to community input that we'd like to share with you preliminarily. I think that is all I really need to go through. Our presentation is just about 15 minutes. It will be followed by questions and answers. Again, you can unmute yourself at any time during the presentation and ask a question. You can raise your hand and I can call on you. If you're not comfortable asking questions in public, you can type something in the chat box and I'll ask it for you. Or we'll have time at the end for questions and answers. So with that, I would like to introduce Ella Strong, who is with the Fifth Church of Christ Scientists. And Ella, will you please take it away? Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to our town hall meeting this morning. My name is Ella Strong and I'm president of the executive board of Fifth Church of Christ Scientists at 450 O'Farrell. In our team, we also have David Murray from Property Development Committee, and then Alex Zucker and Richard Hannum are from Forge Development Partners. Let me begin by saying that our building project's purpose is to benefit and bless the community, to build housing where none existed before, and not just any housing, but the one that will best serve essential worker households. The project will also provide a new church facility that will better serve the community and additional retail space for local businesses. The new housing will involve an innovative and efficient use of space. We'll have generous residential common areas, and we'll have supportive services offered to the residents and their children. And it's being financed without using tax dollars. To give you a little history, as you may know, our church has been at 450 O'Farrell location for nearly 100 years. We need a new church facility and a welcoming, accessible space for the Christian Science reading room open to the public. But our church's heartfelt intent and desire, as expressed in our mission statement, has always been to build housing which working people could afford. And so from about mid-1980s, we have been actively working on finding a path to accomplish that purpose. We never intended to own or operate the housing. Our contribution is our underutilized land. We received project approvals and entitlements at the end of 2018. However, at that time, the developer we were working with withdrew from the project. That in turn gave us an opportunity to work with Forge Development Partners. Richard Hannum, the founder of Forge, has been an architect and a trusted friend to our church since about 1980s. So when the original developer withdrew, Richard's team stepped in, not only to save the project, but also to improve it so it can better reflect church's original intent for the project. So apartments are being changed from luxury rate to what we call essential housing. I think next slide has that information. They better align with the demographics and economics of the Tenderloin, And this redesign project will reach the broadest section of our community because rents will be more affordable. We've talked to, for example, hotel managers, among others, who say that the majority of their employees have to commute from outside San Francisco in order to afford rent. Well, school teachers, firemen, construction workers, restaurant workers, all essential to the city workforce, need local housing. This apartment housing building will provide that, and we're happy that we'll be able to meet that need. What I would like to also add is that San Francisco Interfaith Council, who has spearheaded the Essential Housing Task Force initiative in 2014, has many communities of faith, which, like our church, would like to help the city solve its housing problem by building on their underutilized land. Our project could be just the beginning of something much greater for the city and for its residents. And this is truly very exciting. Let me pass on my microphone to Richard Hannum and Alex Zucker to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Ellen, and great introduction. I just wanted to highlight some of the aspects of the development that we think are key things to note. And then there has been a lot of misinformation swirling around the community, and we wanted to kind of address that head on as well. So the next couple slides following this one, we'll really dive into what information we've seen around the community and kind of correct it to the real information about the true project. So just to hit some highlights here before we move on, the project contains 316 apartments, 47 affordable units, increasing from the previously entitled project that Ella mentioned from 2018 that had 28. This exceeds the inclusionary housing requirement for the project, and we have over 10,000 square foot of indoor and outdoor amenity space. So a lot of space for residents to use outside of their apartments. I'm not going to touch on every single point here, but I will touch on some key ones throughout this slide. And some of the misinformation we've been seeing around the community are the size of the units. They are around 320 up to 650 square feet. To clarify that, all units do have a full cooking facility and full bathrooms, including a convection dishwasher, induction burners, garbage disposal, sink, fridge, and then full-size bathroom with shower, sink, toilet, and vanity. We have 47 BMR units, like I mentioned in the previous slide, which exceeds the current requirements for the project.
Hey, Alex, I'm just going to stop you because we had a couple new people just join. So I just wanted to let people know. I want to say hi to Del Seymour. Hi, Del. Glad to see you here. And I also just wanted to make sure people knew that they have full audio and visual privileges. So we can look at you if you'd like to unclick your camera, and you can also speak at any time during the presentation. Thank you. There was two new people that came on. I wanted to make sure that they knew that this was interactive.
Yeah, and please, we really like this to be more of a conversation rather than a one-sided presentation. So absolutely do interrupt with questions, comments along the way, and we can have more of a discussion about the project and how it's moving forward. So some other key highlights that have changed in the project and that have been kind of swirling around with misinformation is the reduction of parking. That's actually, in our work with planning, that's something planning really likes to see in conjunction with their transit first policy. And we thought it was especially applicable to this project in this neighborhood. There's the most trafficked public transit line west of the Mississippi, literally right across the street from the property, the 38 Geary Muni line. And then 4 or 5 blocks away is Market Street and the Powell Street BART station, as well as all the other Muni lines around there. We do have ample bike parking in 3 locations throughout the building, on the street in front of the project, on the ground floor, as well as in the basement. And something interesting that we have is we're partnering with a group called Project Access that facilitates supportive services and creation of real community with their programs in the building. They're going to be operating programs in the building, and they kind of focus on 3 or 4 areas to focus their kind of programs on. And one of those is health and wellness. So they'll do things like healthy cooking classes, yoga classes, workout classes, things like that. Another kind of arm of theirs is after school and daycare services. So they, have kind of after school programs for children and families to help tutor them and have kind of after school care programs. So, parents don't necessarily all get off at 2 or 3 when kids do. So this can be a place where the children can go in the building and still be supported and watched over while the parents finish up their day. And then they also focus on community building and community volunteering. So they'll host volunteer days throughout the community with organizations in the Tenderloin in this case, and also community building within the building itself. So they'll host kind of fun days like a cocktail hour, movie night, things like that to really build community both in the building and outside the building within the surrounding community. So this slide is a little glimpse at kind of the projects comparatively. Like Ella mentioned, maybe all of you are not aware, but this project was previously entitled with another developer, and I think the latecomers probably didn't hear this, so I'll do a quick little recap. The project was previously entitled with a different developer in conjunction with the Fifth Church. They subsequently have pulled out of the project, but this is kind of a glimpse of what their project was. It was more of a luxury housing, not more of, it was a luxury housing project. Had 28 units of below market rate. Units here ranging from about 30% AMI to 55% AMI. You can kind of see the income threshold there right below the AMIs as well on the graph. And then the 100% of the rest of the units in their project were at 148% AMI and above, so qualifying incomes of $130,000 a year or more. So you can see it really missed this kind of whole middle market, this workforce housing, essential housing market that we are really pleased to have been working with the church over the past couple of years to redesign the project to accommodate, which is really more in direct line with the church's mission statement and goals for the property all along. So we're really happy to help them get there. So you can see on the bottom half of this is kind of a visual of where the current project lies in terms of AMI and qualifying incomes. And you can see 100% of the units in the project now are below 130% AMI or $115,000 income, with the majority laying right around 100% AMI here. So sometimes when we're talking about AMI and qualifying incomes and all these things, it's a bit hard to visualize, who these people actually are. So we put together this slide just as a quick example of some people these categories. So it's everybody from, a fast food line cook and a dishwasher over here on the left.
Alex, your video
Mine
is
is?
fading in and out. Yeah, you want to start over and
Okay.
say
Yeah.
what kind of people are really middle?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay now?
Yep.
So it's everybody from, a fast food line cook and a dishwasher over here on the left to, a tenured USD teacher and a hospitality manager, like Ella mentioned earlier. So, and then there's a lot of categories in between. Obviously, we didn't cover all of them. These are just kind of some examples. Help visualize who these people are and what they do, and really help you visualize how essential they are to the function of cities in general. So we also have had a lot of comments from the community and questions about how this project will serve families. They are, as some of you latecomers maybe didn't see, but the apartment sizes in the project range from 350 square feet to 650 square feet. So they are on a bit of the smaller end. But we did kind of, as Forge we undertook some pretty extensive demographic studies based on census and other kind of polling data. And we found that the average household size in the Tenderloin is actually 1.7 persons. So about a 2-person household, that could be a single parent with a child or a couple. And so we've really tried to design our units and spaces kind of with that target in mind. So uh, more flexible, diverse households. It's not a traditional, a lot of people, when they think of a family, really think of a traditional nuclear family, 2 parents and 2 kids. Uh, Becoming the case less and less in the world, and particularly in the Tenderloin, we found with our demographic studies. So we've designed these spaces to kind of be flexible spaces where it can be a convertible space for daytime and nighttime use. Just to reiterate again, all of the units do have their private bathroom, their own private bathroom and cooking facilities. And we do have ample amenity spaces throughout the building, several residential kitchens for entertaining and hosting larger dinner parties or cocktail parties are in the building for resident use. After school area, there'll be a kind of co-working business center, a gym, laundry space, and 2 interior courtyards and a rooftop as well, rooftop deck. So it is a bit hard. We were finding when giving community presentations for people to visualize what kind of this flexible space living is, or what small space living is, and how it's applicable and how it's used around the world. So we put together the next couple slides to really help people visualize what kind of these spaces are, what they look like, and kind of how they function, and some examples from around the nation here. This housing is pretty prevalent outside of America, but becoming a lot more prevalent in America as people try to kind of downsize and really reduce their cost of living and their kind of impact on the environment. So these are just some images and examples from Providence, Rhode Island. You can see this is all kind of one living space, but you can see it's broken up pretty nicely. This image on the left has kind of the bedroom up front, kind of kitchen, and then bathroom opposite, space in the middle, and kind of living space at the end here near the window. Another example from New York, this is a convertible studio that uses kind of space-saving flexible furniture that you can see. The couch flips down into a bed for sleeping time, and this kind of credenza desk pulls out to a full dining room table that can seat and accommodate 5 for a small dinner gathering. I then also did want to show some images of our units and kind of the potential use cases and the vision we have for how these are going to be used and lived in. So here you can see a unit that this is kind of a cooking use. This table actually is a piece of convertible furniture that pulls out of this desktop to accommodate seating for 4. You can see the bathroom and the cooking facilities here. Another view of the same unit. And again, here's kind of a different larger unit. We do have varying sizes of units. So this one's a larger, what we'll call a 2-bedroom unit. You can see there's kind of 2 distinct living spaces, and then that kind of bathroom pod and a kitchen area around that. So again, showing a dining use. This is another pull-out table from the countertop here. And then in the next image, you will see that this is kind of convertible furniture with beds that can accommodate sleeping for a family of 4 in this unit type. Just wanted to give a glimpse and an image of what the ground floor is going to look like here, because people have always been curious. You'll see the majority of it is the new church facility with the Fifth Church. So obviously part of the project is building and providing them a new church so they can have their updated worship. And particularly, I think one of the points of emphasis for them was the reading room, which we're all very excited about, which will be kind of the front quarter here, which is a open public welcoming space where they can meet the community and engage with them. So it will be active and engaging. We also do have retail here which will be kind of another active, engaging use to kind of keep eyes on the street and hopefully make it safer and more secure for everybody in the neighborhood with more activity and more eyes and things going on there. Then you'll see in the middle is the residential lobby. We have a large residential kitchen here in the back. This is a large amenity room. It will be roughly 3,000 square foot kitchen and dining and entertainment space. And here's kind of the exterior rendering from across the street. The front of the building here, you'll notice the church here is on the left. This kind of space. Can you guys see my cursor? I never know if you can. Yes, okay. So this is the church space here. This was that residential lobby we were just looking at, and then the retail space on the corner, and everything above are the apartments. We also have been hearing one last note, and then we can kind of move more into discussion Q&A session. But something to note is we have been hearing the community feedback. We have a lot of feedback from a certain constituency in the community that when we converted this project from the previously entitled one to what it is now, that they lost, that we lost a lot of family, larger unit, family-friendly housing. And we've been working with the planning department over the last couple of weeks on how to address that and how to incorporate that back in the project. We think we have some really promising findings and drawings. They're not quite finalized yet. We'll know more next week, but we are on path to be able to provide the same amount of family-friendly units to the below market rate allocation as was previously entitled in the project. And so that was 3, just to keep everybody up to speed. So we're really excited about that and more to come.
And
on
I
that.
would say that we'll have another community meeting when we actually have that information, and we'll be sending out information with that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, I think we were always providing 3 family units, but these are actually these are larger, which is what people wanted to see. Is that correct?
Correct.
I wanted to
Correct.
just clarify
Yes.
that. Okay. And I think that concludes our presentation. So I would love to open this up for questions and answers. And as I said, everybody, all you have to do is unmute yourself. And I see Dell. So I'm just going to say, Dell, you have any thoughts you want to share with us as the unofficial mayor of the Tenderloin and a community leader?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Okay.
I've been keeping up pretty well on this project. And it's almost, there's been a lot of concerns, a lot of comments, a lot of questions about and we haven't talked much about it on this call yet, but how will this project affect our neighborhood, negatively or positively? And I feel really good about the fact that I don't see any negatives that's in this as far as affecting the neighborhood. Because the type of worker that this building is designed for will be shift workers, whether they'll be teachers or culinary or hospitality. So it won't be like 8 o'clock in the morning, everyone leaves and clogs up the neighborhood and everyone comes back at 5 p.m. So it'll be a small footprint on the actual congestion in the neighborhood, because congestion is always a big thing. My only concern is the quality of retail we will get. What type of retail are you planning to put in that lobby? And we want to ensure that it's not predatory. That's what we fight against all the time.
Dell, could you tell me what predatory means to you?
Wig shop, nail shop, check cashing,
Right.
weed shop, smoke shop, liquor store, of course. Any of those things that typically in the inner city neighborhood, people come in with a high cost of purchase, high cost of goods, depending on the neighborhood's economic status, and just taking advantage of the community. Basically, that's what predatory is, just like a predator, taking advantage of a weaker person or weaker perceived person.
I really love that. Thank you. That's really important. We've seen, you and I have been walking around the Tenderloin
Yes.
for decades, and we've seen the impact of the corner stores and those other shops and what they've had. I think one thing that's really important to remember that may not be known is that although the church is not going to own the building, they leave a tail in the requirements. So those forms of retail will not be allowed in the building and at all. And so we expect, and our target is, we want food service on the ground floor.
Okay.
We want that animation during meal times and into the evening, so
Yeah.
that there's an outlook on the street that is there, that is providing another level of jobs in the community that fit the same demographics. And so that's part of it. We want a heartbeat down there on that ground floor for all of our people and the other folks in that 400 block of O'Farrell Street.
So,
And so that is the intent. That's our goal, is to have that type of retail, which is serving the neighborhood rather than taking from the neighborhood.
and of course, we don't want Gucci or Cartier either, but we want something that the neighborhood can afford to go in. A $5 hamburger, you know,
We hear you.
a $6 burrito, where the neighborhood can come and sit and enjoy and share in the passerbys and the neighborhood scape, that retail that people in this neighborhood will be able to use.
Well, you know, the thing about upstairs, Del, of all the people living upstairs in the economic world that we believe is our community that we serve, that's what they need too, because what we're bringing instead of luxury is we're bringing an expansion of the current Tenderloin demographic, not something above or beyond.
Yes, okay, okay.
All within reach. That's
Yeah.
the intent.
And you know what my thoughts is on that, with BART closing at, now they're closing at 8 or 9, but BART closing even at midnight, shift workers can't live in Oakland anymore, or down, will never have, down in the peninsula. So this would be a answer to a lot of those situations where our restaurants are closing at 1 a.m. and 1 a.m. and the busboy or the bussers or the servers can't get back to Oakland, and they're forced to shack up in the Mission District with other folks in the overcrowded situation. This would relieve all of that. So I like the demographics of who this building will serve. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Del. Other folks?
I see somebody's raising their hand.
Well, let me go ahead and please, I think that's Prudence. And Prudence, please unmute yourself and feel free to share.
Thank you. I wanted to know, what do you perceive as your obstacles to getting this passed by the city?
Well, the biggest issue, I think, is simply perception. We have the absolute support of the planning department for the project. They have worked really extensively with us in response to the neighborhood comments about the size of units. We were restricted in the interpretation of the code that they have amended to allow us to build these larger 650 plus square foot units under the program. And with that, adding that opportunity, it gave us the chance to yet again redesign the building. And those designs will be coming out on Monday to planning. And it's going to be a substantially better product as a result of this public process. And we see these restrictions, or our barriers, is really simply being one of, as Ella would say, continuing education of the rightness of the project. We don't have any legal barriers or technical barriers at this stage, but there's a process. And that's the process that we're following.
That sounds wonderful.
We're very excited about it. We're very excited.
Supporting you in our prayers.
Our project at 361 Turk Street, we learned yesterday, is one of 2 privately financed workforce housing projects in the country. And it's moving ahead, even under COVID, for delivery at the end of this year. And we're excited to take that same capability and apply it to 450, to this project But to go from the very small units that were at 361 to these now larger units that serve a broader range of the community, of the working community. And that's the result of this process. And it's the result of really the efforts of our mayor's office and the planning department.
What's your estimate of how long this process could run on?
Well, we hope to be approved on the 1st of April. I realize that's an unusual date, but there it is. And it will take us, I believe, Alex, 24 to 26 months to build the building.
Yep.
And we have very, very active interest in the financing of this project. Even when other properties are having difficulty, this project and project type garners a lot of attention as an impact development in workforce housing.
Sounds good.
It's exciting, we think. And we'll get Dell to help us with this.
Other comments from our audience? Okay, I'm going to ask you if I was going to end the meeting so everybody can get on with their Saturday. If you disagree with that, please raise your hand. So that's in the negative if you don't want to end it. Okay, well, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. Again, this will be put on our website and on our Facebook page. I will send out a link to it to the folks that attended. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending and tell you to have a great weekend. Thank you.